Yeah, get that shot of the nasty ass couch that I have in here. I'm going to have to get a new couch. I bought this couch because it was cheap off of Wayfair. And I'm glad it was cheap because the cats absolutely demolished the shit out of it. And this is why we can't have nice things. This is why we can't have nice things. Welcome back to the Off My Meds pod. I realize I have done a lot of talking about all of the other kinds of topics on here, except for what I think most of you follow me for, which is acting and movie set life and TV set life. And so today I've been getting a lot of questions on what being on a set is like. And so I thought I'd just give you a little bit of my thoughts on what set is like being a child actor, how different it is being an adult actor, which for me, there were major differences. And so we're just going to get into it. I will start with my Neds experience because that was my first child actor. Actually, that's not true. My first on set experiences were doing a whole bunch of small budget, low budget, independent films. I did some movies, some random short films for like NYU Film School and LA Film School and a whole bunch of others just to get it on my resume because I had absolutely nothing to add to my resume at the time other than local musical theater performances and dance shows. And so those were actually very insightful. I feel like that was good training. And if you're somebody that's trying to get into the acting world, and if you are, good fucking luck. I feel like it's gotten more gatekept than it has ever been before. And so if you are and you don't have anything on your resume as an actor, doing friends' little film projects or doing film school projects are so useful to add to your resume. And I didn't plan on making this a like how to get into Hollywood episode, but I might have some tidbits in there for you if you were curious about it. So I started with doing like random independent films where you got paid absolutely nothing. You're doing it for the experience, but you're also helping a lot of filmmakers who are up and coming, who may not have the budget to hire actors for pay. And me and my two younger brothers, my youngest brother, Jeffrey Ted Morey, who I think some of you have figured out is related to me and have asked for him to come on the pod, and he's being a little diva. So if you could tag Fishmonger Jeff and tell him to come on my podcast, he lives right down the street from me. Tell him to come on the show. But we acted together as a family, as a sibling group. I think it was easier for my mom to group us all into doing the same sort of extracurricular activity so she could shuttle us all together. And we did a whole bunch of random independent films to start. And then I started auditioning for TV projects and film projects. And that is what led me to Neds. And that audition experience, and I don't think I talked about this on the Neds pod, but my audition experience was actually unlike, I think, any other audition experience that I had before that or after that or since, because it was fairly easy. I think the way it used to work in the good old days was if you got an audition, you would get what is called a breakdown. And what a breakdown is essentially a very short summary of the project and a very short breakdown of each character, along with an explanation of the character you're auditioning for. And most of the time you would get sides, which was 2 or 3 pages of a script of either an episode or a movie. If you got really lucky, you got the whole movie script. And maybe that'll be another episode of some cool movies that I've auditioned for and didn't get. And I think back in the day, I used to really not boast my failures as much. Like if I didn't get the role, I didn't take it as a personal accomplishment, regardless of how far in the process that I got. And now looking back on it as an adult, I wish I would have taken more appreciation of those moments. And I do now. I really look back on them and go, damn, I did a lot and I've accomplished a lot. Being somebody that isn't a Nepo baby, doesn't have any ties to Hollywood, that kind of grew up and made it on my own without having any of those kinds of personal connections that make it a little bit easier to get into Hollywood. Set life. I'm gonna try and be as focused on this episode as possible. So I think my first experience as a child actor on set, my first real professional experience on set, was Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. And no one really prepares you as an actor, as a child or an adult, for being on set. No one walks you into it. If you're a first timer or a newcomer, you just kind of get thrown into the mix. And there's a lot of money involved depending on which network or what show or movie you're on. If you're dealing with a big budget, there are high stakes. And there's nothing more nerve-wracking than high stakes as an actor. And so I think what I really appreciated about the Ned set is I joined the cast fairly early on, which is a bonus because I feel like it's a little more nerve-wracking to come into an already kind of well-established cast and crew, and everybody kind of has their flow going. But for the most part, as a child actor, you don't just sit on set, and there is a lot of sitting. But for Neds, if you're a child actor, for the most part, if you are under the age of 18 and you are working in the state of California, you have to do, I think the hours, it's been so long I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's like you're allowed to work 8 hours on set. Any time over is a certain kind of overtime or penalties that the studio has to pay. But the important thing for child actors is you have to do 3 hours of schooling on set every day that you are on set. Now, I think the first season I had to do on-set schooling, and then you do a whole bunch of waiting around until your scenes are shooting because everything is shot out of order. That is the image of Hollywood, that like everything is not shot in sequential order. It is definitely shot, I think for the most part, it's out of convenience on where you're shooting, who's available, who you have on set per day. And the Neds cast, it was kind of just all over the place, and you'd shoot scenes out of order and you'd shoot different episodes out of order with other episodes. But for the most part, I think they shot one full episode. So 2 mini episodes make one full episode. I'm pretty sure it took a week to shoot a whole episode. God, it's been 20 years and I can't remember any of this, but the schooling was fine. You kind of just like have an on-set tutor available, and you have to do, depending on if you're homeschooled, but a lot of people were in public school. And so it was like whatever homework you had to do while you were on set, you had that time during the day to get that work done. The second season of Neds, I think at that point I was homeschooled. And so I'm losing my train of thought. I'm going to take it back for a second. Maybe it wasn't the second season. Maybe I did both. No, at some point in my youth, I got my GED. So I didn't have to do the 3 hours on set a day. And it actually made me very appealing to people, to casting directors, because I could technically work as an 18-year-old without being 18. So I could work as an adult, and kind of ran around those schooling requirements because I had my high school equivalent, essentially. I went and finished high school anyway and still got my diploma, but it made it very easy for me to work on sets when I got that equivalency, because then they didn't have to hire an on-set tutor for me if I was auditioning for a role. So I think towards the end of Neds, I didn't have to be with the on-school tutor. I'm going to have to go back and ask my mom because I don't remember. But for the most part, if you are on set, any set at all, and I think there's a lot of waiting that is involved with being on a TV or movie set. You have to wait around a lot. And it doesn't matter if you're the principal or if you have one line. For the most part, if you have to be on set more than one day, you're just you're doing a lot of waiting. And for somebody with ADHD, that part I think got more rough than anything else. It wasn't so much the nerves. It wasn't so much memorizing lines. It was just having to sit still and wait. And, sometimes I would go around sets and just leave my trailer and go peep on what everybody else was doing. I don't know if I was supposed to do that. And I might have been, just a little creep hanging around and watching everybody, because I love set life. I love watching people be creative and make films and make TV. And so I was always just fascinated by set production and how quickly things move in Hollywood. And if you are late, you're costing everybody money. And so that's one thing I got really good at is, for the most part, I think a typical set day at Neds was getting there. Call time would be 7 a.m. and you get your 3 hours done if you're not first on the call sheet for the scenes to be shot. They would normally build your school time around your shooting schedule. And then you would just kind of figure out where on the schedule you were and wait for a PA to come get you and say, all right, we're ready for you. I didn't have too much hair and makeup done on Neds. In fact, I got no makeup on Neds. I got very little. My wardrobe was the same across the board. It was a black top, a jean jacket, jean pants, and accessories from Hot Topic, which were fine, but it was what it was. I was a school bully. It was not that big of a deal. I'm explaining this way out of order. I would get to set, depending on where I am on the call sheet. For the most part, you go straight to the makeup and hair and wardrobe and get dressed, and then you pretty much wait. And if you do your schooling, and then you shoot your scenes, and then you kind of wait around, or you get released for the day if you were done shooting everything that you needed to shoot. Nobody teaches you how to hit your mark. Nobody teaches you what a wide shot is, or what a close-up is, or what any of these terms are. And so you really just have to learn as you go and be professional and kind of just hit your mark and not really screw up. And I mean, everybody kind of screws up. There's an outtake reel out of every Neds episode for a reason, because we were kids and we were just kind of having fun. But for the most part, the pressure to have my lines ready and be as versatile as possible and not cause anybody a loss of time or money is a big deal. And I think I really got, I'm really grateful for that opportunity to do that as a kid and to do that as a teenager, because there's a lot of people that I know going into acting as adults, and it's like the pressure's real. When you hit those sets, and they're big sets, it's no joke. And my biggest nightmare would be to be fired from one of those sets, and it wasn't that bad. It kind of took a toll on me for a minute, but we got over it, and we had our full circle moment a couple years ago, and so it's all good. I think as an adult, set life really became fun. I also feel like at 18, so I did 90210 on CW, which I don't really talk about a whole lot because I was in a lot of episodes and I was cut out of a bunch of episodes. But nonetheless, that was my first big kind of experience after Neds, where I really got that taste of big production, big network set life again. And it was really nice because my mom didn't have to take me to set. I could drive myself. I didn't have to sit and do schooling. And I was on set with a bunch of other adults who weren't as... it's just different. I feel like with kids on set, you're still kind of consumed in high school, teenager. Everybody's kind of uncomfortable and unsure of themselves and a little insecure. And there's definitely that as an adult, but I definitely felt a more mature energy on the 90210 set than I did on Neds. And that's just because how old I was at the time. And I really am grateful for the training that I got on Neds, because I got thrown into 90210, and no one says anything to you. You have a call sheet, a call time, and when they're ready for you, you just have to be ready. You don't really, depending on, I was a guest star, so I wasn't a leading role, and I realized that I could have done things a little bit differently, but with age comes perspective. But like, you don't really rehearse lines with people. You kind of meet the person that you're doing your scene with the day of. I met Annalyn McCord the day of my scene, and she luckily was very nice. But sometimes you get some not so nice people that you have to work with on set, and you just kind of have to be professional and do your job. But that one was a lot of waiting around. That one, actually, my call times were like 4 and 5 a.m. and I had to be in Redondo Beach, so I had to leave here super early. But luckily, I don't have to do my makeup. I just have to have a wet hair ready to go. And I was a goth kid, so I was 2 hours in the makeup chair every morning, and an hour in the hair chair, and just a lot of waiting around. My lines were limited, and so I was more of a like character hire than anything else. But I think the most important thing that I've learned from all of the sets that I've been on is just to be as flexible as possible and be prepared for like line suggestions and changes, and not to be so committed to a point of view on a character or in my acting, and to just be prepared to go with the flow. There were a couple of scenes where like, and I see so many people go through kind of this moment on set, if you've done it enough times, is where like the director is seeing a certain take differently, and somebody's not hitting it the way that they want to hit it. And you kind of get this really tough moment where like you kind of get in your head a little bit more, and then it becomes this kind of frustrating moment of not getting it and kind of maybe needing to take a break and then coming back to it. But for the most part, I think Ned's really prepared me for big set life. And I don't know that I would have gotten that experience anywhere else. And that experience, Ned's alone, prepared me for literally any other industry professional setting that I've been in since, and really taught me how to show up, whether as an actor, as a dancer, as a podcast interviewer. Like, it just really taught me to hit my mark, show up, be prepared, be flexible in where I need to go, be prepared on the homework that I had to do beforehand, and not just show up and think I could wing it. Really do my research beforehand and kind of dig in. And so I'm just super grateful that I got that experience as a child actor to really work on those skills, because that is, set life is something that no acting teacher or acting school, professional or not, I don't care if it's been around for 500 years, will ever teach you about set life, because you can't teach it. You just kind of gotta be in it and be used to it. By the way, I don't know if I ever, this is Kyle. This is Loomer. I keep this picture up in all my episodes. It's a Loomer. I don't know if you can see it. That was the episode. This was the episode where they did the, was it a talent show? No. His shirt says I'm smiling. That should scare you. That should have been my shirt. This was the episode with the BMXer Matt. Why am I blanking on his name? I can't remember the episode. And then this is a picture, in case somebody asked what these were. This is a picture of me and my brother at the SpongeBob movie premiere. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if it's zooming in. Oh, there it is. JJ, my other brother JJ. And so I keep these pictures up. They're a fun reminder. That was a good premiere, the SpongeBob premiere. Oh no. Okay, that's fine. And so I think that kind of answers it. That's just like a little tidbit of what set life is like. I mean, like, for the most part, it's just a bunch of trailers you get a trailer. If you're a background actor, you kind of get corralled with all of the other background actors. It's kind of shitty how they lump the background actors with just like kind of everybody else, and they kind of don't treat them as well as anybody that's being paid a little bit more. And that kind of sucks, because without background actors, we don't have good movies. Without background actors, we don't have good TV shows. And so maybe it's time to treat the background actors a little bit better. And I've seen some amazing background actors who like know how to do their job, because it is not easy to pretend to be talking with somebody without audibly saying anything, so that the main lead actors can do their job and actually talk on camera. Like, it's not easy to pretend like you're having a conversation or pretend to be shocked in front of a bunch of people that know you're just playing pretend. So that's my little side rant about background actors for the minute. Let me know if you want to know more about set life. I thought I'd just pop on here and do a little quick tidbit about set life. I don't know that I have any like juicy gossip about stuff on set. I'm sure I have embarrassing moments of times I've been on set and had to figure shit out on my own. But none are coming to mind at the moment. And if there's any specific questions that you have about acting, let me know. I'm getting flushed. That's something that I can never seem to, luckily has never really happened during shooting. Happens on this podcast a whole lot. It's either when I get flushed or angry or anxious or nervous, I get this like red splotchiness. And it gets a little itchy. Like I get hives. I was maybe getting amped. I don't know. Maybe it's getting worse. It's just getting worse. So, to Papa's. He's getting really skinny. If anybody has any cats and knows any good products for senior kitties, please let me know, because I'm a worried mommy over here and I don't know what to do about his weight loss. He's eating, he's drinking water, he's just skinny. He has skin and bones. And I think that's it for today. Glad we're back here. Excited for the next couple weeks to be sharing the episodes that I've got with you. Got for you. I am so sorry. I think I got a couple other episodes in the can that I'm not sharing yet, because I'm going to leave them to be a surprise. So I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Share this video, pretty please. I've been begging some of my like diehard followers to share it. Share this video. Share this stream. Spread the word. I also got some fun. See, I get in the habit of not talking about the stuff that I haven't made yet, because of the second I share it, then I like lose interest in actually following through with it. But I think we got some new fun logos and maybe some merch coming. But I'll cut that out. No, I won't. We got some fun merch coming. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode.